All right, we are on to the next rep. This may or may not be the last one, but we're on to the next rep where we're going through 1 Kings chapter 13. So we already got the context for all of this one. We are identifying plot conflicts, which means we figure out what the plot conflict is, we figure out its resolution, we explore what the resolution of the conflict means, and then we just, any extra information we get from the design patterns that just will help us understand the story even more. So with that being said, we got a good idea. We remember that we start off, what movie are we in? We're in the Bible, and the Bible is a story about, I want to memorize this, but until then, the story about humanity's cycle for self-destruction and the Messiah who will restore the covenant partnership between God and humans. So where we are right now is leading up to this Messiah. We're in the Messiah's bloodline right now, and we're looking at the internal conflict until we get to that place. And we just heard from part of chapter 11, all of chapter 12. Now we're on to chapter 13, and we're going to read and go from there.
Okay. 1 Kings chapter 13. By the word of the Lord, a man of God came from Judah to Bethel, as Jeroboam was standing by the altar to make an offering. By the word of the Lord, he cried out against the altar. Altar, altar, this is what the Lord says. A son named Josiah will be born to the house of David. On you he will sacrifice the priests of the high places who make offerings here, and human bones will be burned on you. That same day the man of God gave a sign. This is the sign the Lord has declared. The altar will be split apart, and the ashes on it will be poured out. When King Jeroboam heard what the man of God cried out against the altar at Bethel, he stretched out his hand from the altar and said, "Seize him." But the hand he stretched out toward the man shriveled up, so that he could not pull it back. Also, the altar was split apart, and its ashes poured out according to the sign given by the man of God by the word of the Lord. Then the king said to the man of God, "Intercede with the Lord your God and pray for me that my hand may be restored." So the man of God interceded with the Lord, and the king's hand was restored and became as it was before. The king said to the man of God, "Come home with me for a meal, and I will give you a gift." But the man of God answered the king, "Even if you were to give me half your possessions, I would not go with you, nor would I eat bread or drink water here. For I was commanded by the word of the Lord, you must not eat bread or drink water or return by the way you came." So he took another road and did not return by the way he had come to Bethel. Now there was a certain old prophet living in Bethel, whose sons came and told him all that the man of God had done there that day. They also told their father what he had said to the king. Their father asked them, "Which way did he go?" And his sons showed him which road the man of God from Judah had taken. So he said to his sons, "Saddle the donkey for me." And when they had saddled the donkey for him, he mounted it and rode after the man of God. He found him sitting under an oak tree and asked, "Are you the man of God who came from Judah?" "I am," he replied. So the prophet said to him, "Come home with me and eat." The man of God said, "I cannot turn back and go with you, nor can I eat bread or drink water with you in this place. I have been told by the word of the Lord, you must not eat bread or drink water there, or return by the way you came." The old prophet answered, "I too am a prophet, as you are. And an angel said to me by the word of the Lord, bring him back with you to your house, so that he may eat bread and drink water." But he was lying to him. So the man of God returned with him and ate and drank in his house. While they were sitting at the table, the word of the Lord came to the old prophet who brought him back. He cried out to the man of God who had come from Judah, "This is what the Lord says. You have defied the word of the Lord and have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. You came back and ate bread and drank water in the place where he told you not to eat or drink. Therefore your body will not be buried in the tomb of your ancestors." When the man of God had finished eating and drinking, the prophet who had brought him back saddled his donkey for him, As he went on his way, a lion met him on the road and killed him, and his body was left lying on the road, with both the donkey and the lion standing beside it. Sheesh. Some people who passed by saw the body lying there, with the lion standing beside the body, and they went and reported it in the city where the old prophet lived. When the prophet who had brought him back from his journey heard of it, he said, "It is the man of God who defied the word of the Lord. The Lord has given him over to the lion, which has mauled him and killed him, as the word of the Lord had warned him." The prophet said to his sons, "Saddle the donkey for me," and they did so. Then he went out and found the body lying on the road, with the donkey and the lion standing beside it. The lion had neither eaten the body nor mauled the donkey. So the prophet picked up the body of the man of God, laid it on the donkey, and brought it back to his own city to mourn for him and bury him. Then he laid the body in his own tomb, and they mourned over him and said, "Alas, my brother." After burying him, he said to his sons, "When I die, bury me in the grave where the man of God is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones." For the message he declared by the word of the Lord against the altar in Bethel and against the shrines on the high places in the towns of Samaria will certainly come true. Whew. Even after this, Jeroboam did not change his evil ways, but once more appointed priests for the high places from all sorts of people. Anyone who wanted to become a priest, he consecrated for the high places. This was the sin of the house of Jeroboam that led to its downfall and to its destruction from the face of the earth.
Ooh, yikes.
I'm tired.
Well, power through. We almost done.
That's a lot.
So, what's a couple of the plot conflicts you saw? Well, I'll start off with there was one between, in the first section, it was between the man from Judah and Jeroboam.
Well, I mean, I guess the first conflict we see is where the man of God comes and says, "Altar, altar, this is what the Lord says." And so he brings up the fact that basically someone else will rise up to be king.
Yeah.
Josiah. And so we're dealing with an already insecure Jeroboam who hears this, and this just further affirms what he's insecure about anyway, and it comes against this conflict that arises, is that this word comes against what he's trying to do, which is fight to stay in this position as king. And so that's one conflict we see. And then there's a conflict with the man of God and Jeroboam, is that he received the word of the Lord. That's all he's saying. I'm guided by the word of the Lord. And so there's a conflict with him staying faithful to the word of the Lord, to not eat and drink and have anything to do with them other than to give them the word. Now, it's interesting because at first that it's just a problem with Jeroboam, but then here comes a prophet who lies. And the conflict is now like, well, okay, this is a prophet of the Lord. And this is not saying it's a false prophet. This is somebody who has, and we see even with what happens with Jeroboam at the end, not Jeroboam, the man of God at the end, that this is not a false prophet. Like the stuff that they said, this prophet says, seems to come to pass. So there's a conflict of like, staying true to what I heard from the voice of the Lord, the word of the Lord, versus the prophet of the Lord. That's a tough one.
Yeah. But there's some clues there that'll
clues.
that'll help us out. We'll get to them later.
Okay.
Want to explore those plot conflict, the resolution. How did each one of those plot conflicts get resolved? One of them was that he stayed faithful to the word in the first part.
Yeah.
And so if we explore that, like what is the meaning of him staying faithful to the word in the first part?
Repeat that last question.
And I didn't word it that well. It would just be so explore the meaning of the resolved plot conflict. So the plot conflict was resolved in the first part between
The man of God and Jeroboam.
the man of God and Jeroboam. So if we explore the meaning of that, what does that tell us? What information does that give us about the story?
There's a lot of information.
It
just
is.
in the first part.
It is. Well, just give us a snippet of what's coming to you.
I want to say the thing that comes to me the most prevalent is that Jeroboam says, "Your God."
I literally sat back when I heard you say that. Like, oh man. Wow.
So I'm like, what happened, Jay?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
You know that you became king by the hand of God.
Does he really know that?
Not.
Maybe he doesn't have the understanding of what it
I get what you're
means.
saying, but I guess when I'm like, something happened, and I don't know if it's because he went down to Egypt and just was like bumped that, or I don't know. But I mean, your point is well taken and understood.
He says, intercede with the Lord your God and pray for me. So he knows the true God.
Come on.
He knows his ability. He even knows that he can talk to this. He knows that this is a man of God. Because had he not believed this was a man of God, he wouldn't even ask him. And so he says, it's like this, as far as what this type of resolution, what meaning we can gain from this resolution is that knowing God and following God are two different things.
Two different things.
Knowing about God and following God are two different things. And it matters.
Yeah.
Like to just talk about, who God is and what he does versus actually following God. It matters.
Yeah.
Because we see at the end that Jeroboam ends up getting judgment. And then the next conflict resolution is that he leaves. When Jeroboam is like, come stay with me, eat with me. He does leave. But we do see when the prophet comes and says the same thing, that the resolution is not a great resolution for this man of God.
Yeah.
And it's that I thought it was interesting what his judgment or his punishment or what the consequence would be is that you won't be buried in the same tomb.
Yeah.
Now, it's not saying that he's no longer a man of God. He is still referred to as a man of God. He is still respected by the prophet who deceived him.
Yeah.
And yet, he received judgment just like Jeroboam
Yep. Yep.
for not following the word of the Lord.
So judgment didn't have a.
It does not have a
taker.
Yeah.
It's like.
There's no respect.
There's no respect to a person.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Whether.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, and you could really look at the Lord like, dang. I mean, he just got tricked though.
Yeah.
The prophet lied to him, but it's like if the Lord told you something, then you need to hold fast to His word.
Yeah.
Not. Go ahead.
No, so there's a couple of very key design patterns in here. Let's go back. And let's just take a look
Wait, can she finish her statement real quick? Finish that.
only because it was adding to that statement. But go ahead.
okay.
Finish it. Go ahead, finish it.
Oh, I don't even. Yeah, just the fact. I think I did finish it. Just the fact that we just need to hold fast to whatever word God has given us. Because I was could really look at it like, dang, he had to get consequences because a prophet straight up lied to him and deceived him. But it's like you trusted somebody, the word of somebody else is claiming to have my word in their mouth. And even though I think that dude did, because he ended up giving him
A true word.
true word. But it's like, it just shows that we need to hold fast to what God has spoken to us, and then be able to discern what is really God's voice and what is not.
Yeah. Even amongst brothers.
Yes.
Because he says he wants the prophet wanted his bones. He wanted to be buried next to this man of God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go to verse 13. So the prophet said to his son, saddle up to the donkey before me. And we found out we're on to the design pattern part. And when they had saddled the donkey for him, he mounted it. And he rode after the man of God. Watch this. And he found him
Under the tree.
sitting under a tree.
Yeah, I circled that because I was like, oh, he got to make a decision.
He got to make a decision.
That's what I wrote.
And look who came to help him to cause the decision. Somebody who knows the Lord and who twisted his words. What does that remind you of?
Serpent.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Who came to him with the word.
It's almost an exact replay
Yeah.
of the serpent
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, yeah,
Knew the words,
yeah,
twisted it,
yeah.
And asked a question.
asked a question under a tree.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Under a tree. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw that. I said, "It's so." My questions towards God when I saw that, they basically kind of just pulled back a little bit. Said, whoa! This is just, you know, the word of the Lord. So that's why
That's adamant. They knew the word.
they
of
knew
Lord.
the word of the Lord, and this prophet was. It's not right that they got deceived. It's not right that Adam and Eve got deceived. But you still knew the word of the Lord. I mean, it was almost an exact replay. To me, it was
Yeah.
of the garden story.
That's good.
And guess what? Adam and
And he
Eve got
ate and
consequences.
drank.
And he ate and he drank.
Yep, yep.
And they got consequences. And this man got consequences.
Yeah.
There's no he got kicked out of the garden moment, but there is a you're not going to be buried with your sons moment. And that kind of stuff you can only see that from my perspective when you got these design patterns flooding through your mind. It was only because I was just, okay, trees, choice, sacrifice. I'm going to have to say no to this and do what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Test. Soon as I saw the tree,
Yeah.
test coming up.
Yeah.
And he failed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He failed it. And so my feelings towards God just shifted because I said, oh, that was just his testing moment. And he missed it.
Yeah.
And he says, but he was lying to him. So that was just that was a big design pattern right there. Multiple, but that was just one. And the other ones y'all saw.
That was the one that I caught.
That was one that you caught.
Yeah.
Some repeats.
Yeah.
Bethel, the altar.
Oh, I thought the donkey and the lion
I was
had a lot
yeah.
of things going on.
I
there.
said the same thing. I could not fit. I was thinking Samson because there was a lion in Samson, but I wasn't able to piece it all together. And now we just read the story about Jesus on the colt. I'm like on the donkey, excuse me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, but I don't have enough there to know what's actually going on. But I know that there's something. The fact that they were sitting right next to each other, like. There's something here,
There's something
and I
here.
don't know what it is.
And the fact that, because it, like what you were saying about what is put and what's not, what's omitted, is still telling. And the fact that the lion did not devour
Yeah,
that
the
donkey
Yeah, they put that in there.
or the man.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I was able to think of was like, is this like a Eden reference? Like there's peace among the animals or something like that? That was the best I could come up with. Like, that was the best I could come up with.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anything else?
I mean, I'm sorry, I need to correct something I said about he did maul the man, the lion did, but he didn't maul the donkey.
But I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the power of design patterns. Man,
He didn't eat the man's body.
he didn't eat the
Yeah.
man's body. Like I said, all of that for a reason. That donkey just sitting right there. The lion still just, and I'm just picturing the lion just right there. And for them to, I wonder what it like shoo when they got to the lion, or they just
But you know what I'm thinking?
what's up?
We do think about in the New Testament where it talks about how the devil roams, seeking like a lion, seeking whom he can devour,
Yep.
and how this lion does pretty much devour this
Yep.
man.
For real. Straight up. It's almost like that's what's going on in the background. The devil was seeking whom he could devour. And then
At
he
the
got
tree.
him. At the
Yeah.
tree. At the tree. And he got him.
Sheesh.
Cool. All right, well I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this on up then.
Okay.
All right, there's a whole bunch more we could do, but we don't want to die. I'm going to leave a lot of them inside the packet for you to work through. I really wanted us to get to Mark and get to 1 Kings chapter 3, 1 Samuel chapter 17, and maybe we can come back to them at another time when we're not pushing 3 hours. But we'll conclude building the skill of reading biblical narrative. Do y'all have any final thoughts? Anything you want to add?
I do appreciate just how we go through biblical narrative, reading it, and the design patterns, how it does help add like an element to understand the narrative from past to present, Old Testament, New Testament, and even how we can see how things relate today.
Yeah.
It just helps, solidify the meaning of the scriptures.
Yep.
And adds greater context.
Yeah.
Understanding.
That's good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Just being intentional to like sit down and actually, this is a form of study in the scriptures instead of just reading it like a regular book. Actually paying attention to gain true understanding of what was meant. What did the Lord mean by writing this? Why did he add this in here? Why is this story put here? And what is the overarching theme of the Bible? So just being able to read and study that's really cool. And then the design patterns, like being able to see how something from the Old Testament ties into the New Testament, how things are hyperlinked, just shows that it's a one story. And just building the skill of being able to identify those things, or even the plot conflict. We can just read stuff and just not stop to really consider what is really happening here. So it just gives us a tool that we can use to just pause and really consider what we are doing, and just look at things in a deeper light to gain better understanding of what God is speaking to us even today. So, yeah.
That is good stuff. It just goes back to what we talked about in our poetry episode. I'm just learning more and more. There's a place for running through the scriptures and everything, but man, I can't rush no more. Because you can imagine if we had just read chapter 12 and chapter 13 and just went about our merry way. There's a place for that, but there's also a place for just stopping, identifying what I just read. And you cannot, some of this, if we went through it very slowly, you're going to be able to do it very quickly the more you do it. And so it's just good to get into the place and the space where we're doing that, so we can fully understand what's going on. Because if this is the well where we get our fundamental beliefs from, then we need to make sure that we understand what we're actually reading and what we actually believe. And so this pretty much concludes our episode. Did you have something you were going to say?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. Oh, this concludes the episode. Just be sure, everyone, remember to check out our website at growingtodisciples.com to check out any of the other podcast episodes. Or if you want to build skills in other ways, be sure to check out, in individual ways, be sure to check out the website. Check out our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, growingtodisciples.com, for other videos on how to grow and how to build skill individually. I know, Adrian, they're going to follow you as you follow Christ, but Khadijah, where can they find you at? What can they connect with you at online?
You can follow me at goingdeeperstill.com. It's my blog. You can follow me there, and I'm also on Instagram and Facebook by the same name, at Going Deeper Still. So yeah, those are some places.
Make sure we follow her out. I also want to say, right before we wrap on up, if you want to support this ministry financially, be sure to go to growingtodisciples.com and click on the donate tab. This stuff costs more money than we might assume or know. So any dollar you want to chip in is a dollar well received. Thank you all, Adrian and Khadijah, for helping out with this episode today. I think this will help people for years and years to come, because if we're going to be reading the Bible for the rest of our life, it will help to have a skill that we can build and get better with it. So God bless everyone for watching. Always remember that submitting to Jesus isn't just a one-time big decision, but a lifetime of intentional choices. We'll see you on the next episode of the Skill Builders Podcast.
Bye.